Hey there boys and girls, Lucky here and welcome back to another CSGO video. Today with another episode of Noob the Pro, the series that should help you get better at Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Today we're talking about angles, the mechanics, how to hold them and how to peek them. As you all know, Noob the Pro is a two-part series, meaning on Mondays you'll always get a big tutorial/guide video like this one, mostly, sometimes including a training routine for the week. And then on Tuesday I'll be streaming so you can ask me a couple of more additional questions that you had about the episode or about CSGO in general, and I can do some live teaching for you guys on Twitch. So I'd say, let's get right into it. Alrighty, so first of all, let's talk about the mechanics, or better said, a principle about peeking angles and holding them, and just generally how the principle of the angle applies to what you're actually able to do in game. So many people, if they're a little bit unaware of this principle, they often call wall hacks or are not sure why the enemy was able to see them first. Now in this scenario right here, you can see that we're standing very close to the corner, and about right here we would be able to see our enemy. So let's move a little bit to the side, we're still kind of aiming on him. Now watch what happens if we're moving further away from the corner. The further away we're getting, the more of the enemy player model will be revealed to us. And that's a very important principle. If you're about the same distance away from the piece of cover, corner or whatever that is basically giving your guys, like the enemy as well as you, line of sight, the one who's further away of course has maybe a little bit harder time to hit the target and to aim because of the weapon spread and all of that, but he'll be able to always see the enemy guy first. So for example in this scenario you would be able to see like his legs, his butt right there, or if he would be like peeking like this, you would see the gun sticking out, or right here, or especially if he's like using an AWP, like that. That's why I always see pros only side strafing in order to peek. You never want to go around like this, because you're already giving away your position, meaning the other guy on this side will already be prepared and you're kind of losing the element of surprise on your side. So as you can see, right now we're completely on his head almost, so let's do that on his head, like this. And we're close to the corner, we're too close. Actually right now we're not able to see him, however he's able to see us, because as we can see right here, this is where our head camera is. So right now, this is kind of our head, this little brick right here. And as you can see, we still got shoulders, and in general, our player model is a lot wider than just like, I don't know, the piece of camera in the middle. Meaning that all of our things to the side, like our legs and arms, are still sticking out right here. So the enemy right here can actually see us while we're not able to. And again, if we're moving further away, we're able to see them. And this again goes for the other way around. So in some scenarios, some things can be helpful to use this in an old-fashioned way, in a surprise manner, and other things, and that's what we're going to talk about right now. Alrighty, so let's talk about peeking. So since you've understood now that the further away you're from a corner, the sooner you'll actually be able to see the enemy, you want to basically utilize this, you want to use it to your advantage. Now, there are a couple of different types of peeks that you would be able to do in a game. First of all, there's the normal, standard, going to the corner, stutter step, shoot, and this is basically peeking. Now, there are a couple of other types as well. For example, something that is very popular, if you know that there would be an enemy AWP right here, just holding the angle for the guys, trying to kill them right here. There's something that you can do which is called shoulder peeking. Now, usually peeking is there to give you guys info, like to see if someone's there and then to engage in a gunfight. However, shoulder peeking is basically utilizing what we've done before, meaning we're close to a cover like this and we're only letting our shoulder pop out for a split second. And what we're trying to do with this is bait out an AWP shot. Usually, many AWPers will hold a kind of tight angle like this and then go for like a flick or just in general a reaction shot. However, usually many people also prefer to like set it a little bit up further away, since you already have to move out your head right here. And again, as you can see, this guy, like if he would be peeking, we could set ourselves up for this. And imagine he would be behind a corner. We would already be able to see his arm if he would be close peeking like that. So setting up right here, we would be able to hit him and basically see him before he would be able to. Now, shoulder peeking is basically designed exactly for that. You're peeking out not to get any info, but just to, well, bait out the shot. So as soon as the AWPer sees the guy, it's usually a reaction shot. So he's waiting. He's basically staring at the screen, and then as soon as he sees, fires. And like that, you can get info by shoulder peeking, you now know, oh, alright, there's an AWPer there. And then, depending on that, you can now flash over, smoke over, and do something against it in order to make the AWPer's life back there on the A side a lot harder. Now, back to normal peeking. You can also do normal peeking combined with a crouch peek. So this means you're going out, and as soon as your head is popping out of cover, you're going to duck away. Now, the reason for that is many people, or well, most good players have decent crosshair placement, especially when it comes to the height of the crosshair placement. Meaning that as soon as you're peeking out, if they're holding the angle right here, they're going to also go for a reaction shot and just straight up fire. Meaning that if you're ducking down as soon as you're leaving the cover, you're actually able to fire at them efficiently. Now, this works also if you're very up close to the cover like this. It's actually a little easier to time because you're kind of closer to the wall, meaning you can better coordinate your head not sticking out anymore. However, again, then you have to anticipate more of what you're actually seeing, meaning that usually you go like this. You check this spot, you check this spot, then you check like up here, maybe down there, and you check like each spot after another. The thing is, if you're doing this one right here, you gotta check all of these at once and you go for a reaction flick shot. And this is of course not very efficient, so this is something you should only do as soon as you know the position of the enemy. So again, if you have another guy already jumping like down in pit and he's giving out info, okay, he's there and there, then based on that you can go for a pre-fire shot and try to kill the guy. Another thing that you can do is wide peeking. Now, wide peeking is kind of, for the most part, stupid, because you're running out in the open, meaning you will have a longer period of time while you're moving, and this again means that it's just a longer period of time where you're not able to shoot, and basically then when you're out in the open, you have to like evade the headshots, crouch down, and you're sitting duck, which is very bad. This is why crouch, or better said wide peeking right here, is only done in conjunction with another player doing a normal close peek like this. So that you're basically using your manpower in order to fire at a target simultaneously from two angles. It's basically, the wide peeker is being the bait. He's already trying to kill the other guy, so he's not just running out like this. However, the more important player right here is the close peeker. So whenever you're a wide peeker, you really have to trust your teammate there that he's actually going to trade up or will help you in order to kill the other guy on the plat there on the A side. Now, there's the normal peek like we had right here, which is, again, the closer one, wide peek. We had crouch peeking, and there's another peek that is essentially a combination of some of the previous ones, which is kind of AD peeking. So remember shoulder peeking like this? You can kind of do that with like every corner in the game, and since you're 100% accurate, as long as your velocity is below 30, you get kind of a small point in time where you're kind of like moving like this, and you can fire accurately. You see, I'm hitting the targets while firing and moving, and it's basically the same when you're trying to peek an angle. It's like pre-firing, and then you go always for the shot right here, like that. I'm trying to kill the guy. I'm sorry. So like this, you basically combine an AD spam with pre-firing. This is kind of hard to master, and again relies on you having knowledge about positions of enemy players. Of course, you can also just like go around, pre-fire every corner, which again will make you known. However, it will also put some pressure on the guys so that they know, okay, this guy's pre-firing, so I should keep back a little bit. Which again could be, again, another downside, because now you do not know the position of the enemies. So it's always kind of hit and miss. And essentially, that's how peeking goes. You either properly check each spot, or you go for a certain peeking style coordinated with your team, or, well, use that one that is kind of only relying on you, which you're kind of doing the AD peeking, or like a crouch peek. And then the problem with crouch peeking is you're also committed once you do it. So you really have to keep that in mind. Just in general, it's better to always take gunfights when you're peeking if you have the man advantage. Otherwise, if you're not using, like, again speaking, not using any utility or just anything else to your advantage, it's just having the further angle, which usually helps you. So clearing the angles one by one and then going for the shot is what you should be going for. Now, let's talk about holding angles. There are basically two types of angles that you can hold. The first one is a basic or standard angle. They're called like that because, well, they're basic. They're usually good spots. However, there are also known spots. So, In theory, if you would be holding for short and you got pushed back, a common place to hold from is right here behind the box. Why is that? You're only pretty much exposing your head and maybe your shoulders a little, meaning that you cannot properly get tagged. You got a piece of cover right here at your disposal, you can also duck behind it, and you can basically dance around the cover. It has two sides. So the thing about basic or standard angles that you're holding is that every time you're using one of these, they're known, however, they're also offering something to you, meaning you're not exposing yourself a lot. So let's say you're using another angle like this one. You also would not be exposing yourself a lot, only your head and maybe like in between these two barrels a little bit. However, you cannot dance around it. It's kind of this is called like a noob corner or noob angle because you cannot get out of here. Not because you're a noob if you're using it, but it's kind of like what noobs gravitate to because they do not know that if they engage into a gunfight, that they sometimes have to switch the position and kind of use that to like their advantage. Now, of course, these are known. So the problem is people will come around, already pre-aim at that and then kind of pre-fire you and kill you. So there are two things that you can do for standard angles. Either you're just waiting for them, like just ducking behind them or just completely hiding yourself so that you actually let them come in and kind of make them believe that you're not there. Then you pop out and you still got your good cover at your disposal. However, in that regard, the enemy then would not be able to pre-fire you since they are not completely expecting you to be there. This is one thing that you could be doing. Another thing is, again, using someone else, like our player right here, as a kind of luring out baiting type, which again enables you to properly make more use of your cover again. Now the other thing that is good for holding angles is, of course, off angles. So off angles are something like, if you would usually be holding from back here, you would be holding from here. So now you're saying, okay, this angle is very, very stupid because you're out in the open kind of. Like, of course, you got cover here and here, but you first have to walk to them. Why not just like stay behind them from the beginning? And of course, the problem is that you can get pre-fired. Now, if you do not want to get pre-fired and you notice that you get pre-fired a lot, use an off angle like this. Because if they're coming around and they're checking for like spots, they're coming around like right here and they're usually checking for this one first. So you're standing kind of here, meaning they'll check for this one, then move over to this one, and they completely swiped you already, and then they have to compensate for that. They already exposed more of their like player model right here than they actually wanted to, meaning that if you're using an off angle, you can catch them off guard. Hence the name off angle. So off angles, once again, only really work at higher ranks properly, because people expect you to be in certain places. Because this would be a stupid spot to stand in, obviously, so they do not expect you to be there. So that's why like many like worse players sometimes have like good aim duels against like better players, even though their aim might be worse. The good player is not expecting the other player to stand like, for example, right here. Like, why? There's no piece of cover, you can go nowhere, you're completely committing to a gunfight in this spot. So again, off angles are kind of a hit and miss thing. They work a lot better on higher ranks, and they offer you something that is called the element of surprise, which again means that as long as you're already being set up, maybe even like crouched down or something, again to throw them off even more, so you're not headshot height, you can definitely make some good use of that and maybe get in a couple of kills before they're actually able to kill you. And again, it's all about maintaining the numbers advantage in order to give yourself the edge in the game. So yeah. This is basically how you would be holding angles. You're just having your like basic or default angles, which you can get pre-fired from. So just staying behind them, checking every now and then if someone is there or not, is definitely something that you should consider, especially if they're, well, pre-aiming you very extensively and then just pre-firing you everywhere. And then again, off angles, also something that you could be using. Same goes for like this spot. Like, it's not offering you much cover. So no one in the right mind at especially a high rank would think like to look there. You're just not going there. You're kind of going up here, maybe checking this spot, and you see the box right here is kind of well, blocking these baskets, as you can see. So if you go up, you're checking right here, okay, no one behind the stairs, no one back there, and you go around like this, and he already swiped across you. And of course, you gotta have the aim to back that one up. This is a very ballsy move right here to be in the spot. So make sure you can actually do that. Otherwise, it's just a suicidal, I don't know, command, try, whatever, whatnot. So yeah, these were a couple of tips on the angles game, how to play them, how to hold them, a couple of different types of peaks. and then again how the angles principle actually works, and I hope this was kind of helpful. I know I covered this already in a couple of other videos, and I also mentioned it briefly in a couple of other Noob to Pro episodes. However, so many of you guys actually want to know more about it and ask me so often that I thought, okay, if you want more about it, here's another episode. So there's that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and luckySkillFaker out.